Okay, good morning, everyone. I hope that the screen is visible to you. I am audible and visible. Shashank, good morning. Can you see me, beta? Am I audible? Am I visible? Okay, great. I think there is something with the camera in the class. Anyways, mm, let us start today's class. And if I remember, in the last class, we had drawn the graph between applied force and friction force for a body which is kept on a horizontal surface. I think we had drawn that graph and we had seen that this graph is inclined at an angle of 45 degrees. We have also seen that static friction is intelligent friction. It can change its magnitude as well as it can change its direction depending on how much is the force applied. The maximum value of static friction is known as limiting friction, and that is equal to mu s multiplied by n. I'm still not able to see you. There's still windows coming on the camera. I hope it gets sorted. Anyways, let us move further and try to wind up this topic here. Let us start today's class with a simple question, and this question will lead us to some very important result. Now, let us say that I have an inclined plane, inclined, let us say at an angle of 30 degrees. It is inclined at an angle of 30 degrees. I have a block of mass m kept on this inclined plane, and obviously the surface is going to be rough. The surface is going to be rough. Now, what I see is that this block remains at rest. It is not moving. It remains at rest. You are given this information that this block remains at rest. You have to tell me what is the value of static friction. Obviously, it is at rest, but it wants to slide down. Something is stopping it. What is stopping it? It has a tendency to go downwards. I've told you. We also call it impending motion downwards. It has got an impending motion which is downwards. Downward. It has got an impending motion downwards, but it is not moving. Something is stopping it. That thing is static friction. Can you tell me the value of static friction in this case? What is the value of static friction or frictional force acting on this body? What is the value? I give you a minute to do it. I can't see you. The camera is off. I hope all of you are trying. In the online class, Sashank, Naresh, are you trying the question? Okay, Sashank, I got thumbs up from you. Naresh, I'm still waiting. How are you supposed to do this? Every question that comes to us will be done in the same way. I will draw the free body diagram. This is mg. Let me draw the x and the y axis. This is my, oops. This is my y-axis. This is my x-axis. We all know this. Normal reaction is perpendicular to the plane. So normal reaction goes like this. N is the normal reaction. Now, we have to resolve mg along two components. So this is mg sine theta, mg sine theta, and this is mg cos theta. Now, I have asked you the value of static friction. Now, one question that usually comes when I ask any student, what is the value of static friction? They always normally ask me, sir, excuse me, you have not told us the value of mu s. You have not told us what is the value of mu s. Now, if you don't tell us the value of mu s, I cannot tell you what is the value of static friction. Well, if that is your question, I must tell you that the question is a good one, but the answer to the question lies in the question itself. Static friction, Fs, is self-adjusting. It does not depend on the value of mu s. Only one thing depends on the value of mu s, and that is your limiting friction. Here, I have not said that the body is about to move, that the motion is about to start. So you cannot conclude whether the friction is limiting or not. If the friction is not limiting, you don't know the value directly. You cannot write static friction as mu s multiplied by n, because that is not static friction. That is the maximum value of static friction, and that is limiting friction. It only happens when the body is just about to move, when friction is about to reach its maximum value. Nothing is given in this question that tells me that this is the maximum value of friction, and hence mu s is not required in the question. Even if I don't give you the value of mu s, you should be able to tell me the value of static friction. Remember, static friction has got nothing to do with mu s. Only one value of static friction can be found out from mu s, and that value is limiting friction. Here, it is not limiting friction, so we don't need the value of mu s. Do we understand this? Can I have some raise hand that we understand this? Who will raise hand? No one is there in the class. Shashank is there in the class. I don't see the rest of the students, so I don't know whether they are raising hands or not. But Shashank is there in the class, so you don't need the value of mu s. The camera is on. The windows are still on the camera. Anyways, do you understand this? I can see your raised hands. If I don't see your faces, I can see your raised hand at least. Okay. Now the question still remains. What is the value of static friction? Again, we do the same thing that we have already done. We have drawn the free body diagram. N is perpendicular. Mg cos theta is perpendicular. It is not going to move in the perpendicular direction. So you can write the green equation. The green equation normally becomes N equates mg cos theta. N equates mg cos theta. That is my green equation. I hardly require this here, but still I will write it. I might require it sometimes. Now, what do I see here? Mg sin theta is trying to pull it downwards. This block has a tendency to move downwards. Impending motion is downwards, but it is not moving. Something is stopping it. What is stopping it? Our new friend, static friction, is going to stop it. So Fs has to be upwards. As soon as we understand the direction of Fs, we should now be able to tell me the value of Fs. Fs must be equal to mg sin theta because this body is in equilibrium. Everyone understands it. So the value of Fs in this case is mg sine of 30. Sine of 30 is half, whatever it is, half mg by 2. That is the value of static friction. And remember, mu s has got nothing to do with this. Static friction has, yes, now it is okay. Static friction has nothing to do with the value of mu s. Only limiting friction depends on the value of mu s. Thank you, sir. I can now see them fine. Do we understand this? Can I have some raise hand that we have understood this? Everyone? Okay. I hope you have written this. I'll just move on to the next segment of this question. Now, what I'm going to do here is change the value of this angle. So basically, this is an inclined plane whose angle can be changed. And I'm sure that you might have visited your physics lab by now, and you will find this experiment in your physics practical. It is there in CBSE textbook. In CBSE practicals, I'm sure it would be there in your board as well. So you have an inclined plane whose angle of inclination can be changed. It's a rough inclined plane whose angle of inclination can be changed, and then you put a block and you see at what angle the block starts to slide. That is what we are going to do here. Question number two, in question number two, what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the angle. I'm going to make it 37. So what I'm going to do is make it steeper. It was 30 degrees in the first case. I have made it more steeper, 37 degrees, because we know the value of sine and cos of 37. The block of mass m still remains here. It still does not move. It is still at rest. The same question comes to me. Can you tell me the value of static friction? Again, the value of mu is not given to you. You must now understand that mu is irrelevant in this entire exercise. Give me the value of static friction in this particular case. You have 1 minute to solve the problem. I hope everyone is following me in the online class as well as the offline class. What is the value of static friction? The question is pretty damn simple. Mg goes downwards as always. My x and y axis are like this. This is my y axis. This is my x axis. I'm drawing because I normally make mg cos theta in a different direction. This is my normal reaction. This is mg cos theta. Cos of 37 is 4 by 5. So I write mg multiplied by 4 by 5. This is mg sine theta. Sine of 37 is 3 by 5. So it becomes 3 by 5 of mg. It does not move in the perpendicular direction. We all know this. So I can get the value of normal reaction. I will not write it again. Normal reaction, the green one, is 4 by 5 mg. Now again, this body has a tendency to move downwards. Impending motion is downwards. It is not moving. Something is keeping it at rest. What is that? Static friction, obviously. Oops, wrong color. So static friction is definitely backwards, Fs. What is the value of static friction? I think you can see the yellow blocks and tell me, sir, in this case, the value of static friction is 3 by 5 mg. So as you can see, when I've changed the angle from 30 degree to 37 degree, when I've changed the angle from 30 degree to 37 degree, static friction has changed its value. In first case, it was mg by 2, it was smaller, but now it has become larger. It has become 3 by 5 mg. Static friction is self-adjusting. Static friction is intelligent. What next? Again, I'm going to change the angle of the slide. What is going to happen? Obviously, at all angles, it will not remain at rest. At some point, it will start to move. Yes or no? Will it start to move? Yes or no? You can raise your hands by telling me. Raising hands is saying yes. Will it? Yeah, it will move at some point in time. So let us now assume. Again, it's a hypothetical question. Let us assume that when the angle is made 45 degrees, this is just about to move. So it is just about to move. So that is the condition given. It is just about to move. At 45 degrees, it is just about to move. Now the question is, what is the frictional force? What is the frictional force? Whether it is limiting friction, or you know that it is limiting friction. So you have to now find the value of limiting friction and also the value of mu s. Remember, at 45 degrees, the block is just about to move. Your time starts now. So how do I go about it? Again, let me first draw the x and the y axis. This is my y axis, this is my x axis, nothing has changed. This is still mg. This is mg cos theta, mg cos of 45, cos of 45 is 1 by root 2. So it becomes mg by root 2. This is my normal reaction. This is mg sine of 45. Sine of 45 is also 1 by root 2. So this becomes mg by root 2. It does not move in the perpendicular direction. So I can write my green equation. And what does my green equation look like? My green equation says that normal reaction N is mg by root 2. No questions asked. It is as simple as it gets. Again, mg sine theta is trying to pull it downwards. Its impending motion is downward. It is not moving. Something is stopping it. What is stopping it? Obviously, it has to be a new friend, static friction. Static friction has to be upwards, but here in this case, it is just about to move. So static friction has reached its maximum value. So instead of calling it as static friction, I will now call it as limiting friction because it has reached its maximum value, limiting friction. Now, how much is that limiting friction? It has to be equal to the, because the body is still in equilibrium. It is just about to move, but it is still in equilibrium. We'll assume that it is still in equilibrium. So the value of my limiting friction becomes mg by root 2. Mg by root 2. That becomes my value of limiting friction. I found out the value of limiting friction. Limiting friction is mg by root 2. Now I have to calculate the value of mu s. I will give you a minute to win it. Can you tell me the value of mu s? Mu s, the coefficient of static friction. Can you tell me the value of mu s? If anyone has got the answer, you can raise your hands. I see some raised hands on the back. Great. Some guys. I think one girl also on the left hand side. Well done. Well done. If you have got the answer, it is great. Tejasvi has also raised his hand. Waiting for Shashank. Shashank has not raised his hand. What is the value of mu s? Now, once I get the value of limiting friction, Shashank has also joined. Once I have got the value of limiting friction, FL, this limiting friction is fixed and it has to be equal to mu s multiplied by n. No questions asked. This is what we have learned. Just put the values, get the answer, stay happy. The value of limiting friction is mg by root 2. The value of mu s is not known. In this particular case, normal reaction is also mg by root 2. This will get cancelled. Remember, mu s is not 0. Mu s is 1. It is a very, very high value of mu s. Remember, my question was a fictitious question. Normally, mu s is not so high. It is always 0.1, 0.2, 0.4. But again, doesn't matter whether it's a practical value or not. I have to make you understand something, and I hope I have made the point clear. Static friction has got nothing to do with mu s. The only gentleman who has got anything to do with mu s is your limiting friction, which is the maximum value of static friction. Am I clear with this? Can I have some reason that we have understood this entire concept of static friction and limiting friction? And remember, whenever you see static friction, first thing you must remember that you don't know the value. You don't know the value of static friction. This is one thing that you should remember. Okay, what next? Next question, next. What is the next question? We can make some very enterprising questions in static friction, and that is where most of the students get caught, because as soon as they hear static friction, mu s into n. No, static friction is not mu s into n. You must get out of that notion that static friction is equal to mu s into n. If you get out of that notion, things are going to be pretty damn simple. Now, since we are on inclined plane, I'll just make a question on inclined plane, and I'll tell you how intelligent is this friction. I have an inclined plane inclined at an angle of 30 degrees. As in the first case, I have a block. Let me not put any mass. I will just put it as m so that I get all the answer in terms of m, mg and all that. What I'm doing here is I'm applying a force of along the incline. I'm applying a force of mg by, oops, I should not write it here, else you will get confused. I've applied a force of mg by 4 upwards. I've applied a force of mg by 4 upwards. And I see that this block, okay, let me just put it this way. I see that this block remains at rest. It does not move. Can you tell me the value of static friction? Then I'll ask this question in a different way. Okay. Before going on to this question, I missed a very important point. From the previous question. Okay, I think we should discuss that point first. I just missed because I was in a hurry to get to the next question. We missed a very important point. So please note that point first, then you can do this question. Now, what we saw in case number 3, and case number 3 is coming right on your board, is that if I keep on increasing the value, the incline, the angle of the incline, at some point the block is supposed to start moving. The block will move at some particular angle. That particular angle at which the block starts to move, in this case that angle was 45 degrees. This angle when the block starts to move is known by a particular name. This angle is known as angle of repose. This angle is known as the angle of repose. I forgot this, sorry, I missed this point. So you will now just note angle of repose. So what is angle of repose? In this case, 45 degrees was the angle of repose. And what was 45 degrees? It was the angle at which the block starts to move. That is known as your angle of repose. Now there is a simple derivation that we can do, and I'll bring that derivation on the table. So angle of repose is what we are discussing now, angle of repose. What is this angle of repose? It is the angle at which the block begins to slide. Now, from this angle of repose, we can make a very simple derivation. So you can see this is angle of repose, right? So angle of repose in this case, in this particular case that we are seeing, so what we have done here, you can draw this diagram. Which diagram? The diagram that you can see, if you can draw that diagram, it would be good. I'm just trying to make that diagram look bigger and bigger, and I think it is good enough. Okay, so this is the diagram right now on your screens. What are the things that you must draw? This is the normal reaction N. Now we are increasing the angle. You can call this angle as alpha, or you can call this angle as theta. This is the angle at which the block starts to slide. The block starts to slide, or it is about to slide. It is about to slide. This is your Fs, which now becomes Fl because it has reached its maximum value. This is your mg cos theta or cos alpha. This is mg sin theta or sin alpha, depending on which angle you are calling it is theta or alpha. This theta or alpha is known as angle of repose, and from this diagram you can see FL will be equal to mg sine of theta or alpha, whatever you call it. FL will be equal to mg sine alpha. Yes or no? Do we understand this? FL will be equal to mg sine alpha. We have just seen this. Now this FL will always be equal to mu s multiplied by n. So this mu s multiplied by n is equal to mg sine of alpha. Now in this case, as you can see, I'll just use a different color pen. Your normal reaction n will be equal to mg cos of alpha. The normal reaction n will be equal to mg cos of alpha. If I put the value here, of normal reaction, if I put the value of normal reaction as mg cos of alpha multiplied by mu s, that would be equal to mg sine of alpha. I can cancel mg out. My mu s becomes tan of alpha. And this is a very important result that you must remember. What you must remember, that coefficient of static friction mu s is always equal to tan of alpha, where what is alpha? Alpha is known as angle of repose. And what is this angle of repose? It is the angle of the inclined plane at which the block begins to slide. Am I clear? What is angle of repose? Am I clear with this? Can I have some raise hand that we understand this? Angle of repose. Okay. Now, this is how the definition is. Angle of repose is defined as the angle of the inclined plane with the horizontal such that a body placed on it just begins to slide. And here is a very simple derivation of the angle of repose that we have already done. I'll give you 2 minutes. I'll give you 2 minutes to write this entire definition and the diagram and also the derivation. Angle of repose is defined as the angle of the inclined plane with horizontal such that a body placed on it just begins to slide. And the relation that you must remember is mu s. In the notes, it is written as mu please make that mu as mu s. Mu s shall be equal to tan of alpha, where alpha is the angle of repose. So we have studied two angles. One is the angle of friction. The other one is the angle of repose. One is the angle of friction. The other one is the angle of repose. One is the angle of friction. The other one is the angle of repose. And there is a very good derivation given at the last. Thus, the coefficient of limiting friction is equal to the tangent of the angle of repose, as well as theta and alpha are same. What is theta? What is alpha? They are calling alpha. They are calling alpha as the angle of repose. Alpha is the angle of repose. Theta, if you can find out, is the angle of friction. You must remember angle of friction is also equal to mu, whether it is mu s or it is mu s. And therefore, this is a very important thing that you must remember. Angle of repose is equal to the angle of friction. Angle of repose is equal to angle of friction. I hope you have noted this down. Have you noted this down, everyone? Okay, then we will move forward. And now I will move to this question. Now, instead of now telling you that the block is at rest, okay, let us start with block at rest so that let me not make it too complicated. Let me start with this block at rest. Inclined plane, angle of inclination is 30 degrees. Mg by 4 is applied upwards. Can you tell me what is the value of static friction in this case? Let us come back to the original question that we were supposed to be doing. I'll give you a minute to solve it. I'll give you a minute to solve this. How are you going to solve it? Well, you don't have a magic wand. What you have is simple things that you have studied. You just need to apply those things, apply them correctly, and stay happy. So this is my normal reaction. This is mg cos theta. Cos of 30 is root 3 by 2. So this becomes mg into root 3 by 2. This is mg sine of 30. Sine of 30 is half. So this becomes mg by 2. Now the baton passes on to you. Can you tell me the value of static friction? Can you tell me the value of static friction? First of all, can you tell me the direction of static friction? There can only be two directions of static friction possible. One is the green direction, upwards, or the other one is the pink direction, downwards. What is the direction of static friction? Green or pink? How many for green? I think one or two students at the back thinks that it will be green. Okay, what about pink? How many for pink? Again, the same students I think are vying for pink. So I only see 4 students raising their hands, 2 or 3 for green, 2 or 3 for pink. What are the rest of you doing? Sitting and having a ball. So either it's green or it's pink. It cannot be upward or downwards, right? How many for green again? Boys are on the green side. 1 or 2 boys. Yes, I see your hand, beta, from the corner. I see your hand. What about pink? How many for pink? Everyone at the back is for pink. Girls in the front row, they don't like green, they don't like pink. Okay, color preference. Now, again, you must understand that we are not playing Kaun Banega Crorepati, that we just give answers depending on our choice. What we have to understand is why green or why pink? Why should be green or why should it be pink? First, let us try to understand in which direction this block is going to move. It is not moving, but it has a tendency to move. If you look on the downward direction, mg by 2 is trying to pull it downwards. In the upward direction, mg by 4 is trying to pull it upwards. Who will win? Who will win? Obviously, mg by 2 is more. Mg by 2 will win. If mg by 2 wins, the block has a tendency to move downwards. Block has a tendency to go downwards because mg by 2 is more than mg by 4. Mg by 4 is trying to pull it upwards. Mg by 2 is trying to pull it downwards. Now we have an answer to where should be friction. Mg by 2 is downwards, mg by 4 is upwards, downward force is more, upward force is less. So it has a tendency to move downwards, and hence the direction of friction has to be upwards. So if you said upwards, then you are correct. The direction of friction would be upward. Do we understand this? Can I have some raised hand? How we have understood this? The direction of friction is upwards. Now the next question is pretty simple. What is, see, that is why I always insist on finding out the direction of friction first. I always talked about the direction of friction, then I talked about the magnitude. If you get the direction wrong, everything goes away. Now, let us talk about the magnitude of static friction. Now, the block does not move, so body is in equilibrium. If the body is in equilibrium, whatever is on the upside, same thing has to be on the downside. That will be your pink equation. What will be your pink equation? Mg by 2, which is trying to pull it downwards, must be equal to mg by 4, which is trying to pull it upwards, plus Fs, it does not move. So friction is doing the rest of the part. Solving this simple equation, you should be able to get the value of static friction. And the value of static friction in this case, from what I see, is mg by 4. Do I understand this? Do we understand this? Can I have some raise hand that we understand this? Okay. Now what I'm going to do in the next problem, why I'm making so many problems on the same strategy, so that you understand that static friction is intelligent, it is self-adjusting, and what all things can do. Let me change the scenario. Same angle, 30 degrees. I'm not changing the angle. Same block, mass m. What I have changed here is I have put a force of mg by 2 in the upward direction. Now I am giving you this additional information that the block is at rest. Once we are done with this question, I will change this condition and I'll ask you to tell me whether it is at rest or not. I'll give you something else. I'm here now, right now, telling you the block is at rest, which I should not be telling you. But I'm telling you so that the problem remains simpler. Remember, I have always told you, I have told those crash course wala student as well, that whatever problem that you see in JEE or wherever, they might look very complicated. Are they complicated? No, they are not complicated. They are made up of simple problems to put together. I put 2 or 3 simple problems put together, and I'll do that once we are done with this simple steps. And then I'll make a complicated problem. And if you understand those simple things, you should be able to solve that complicated problem. This is how you should be studying physics in particular. The block is at rest. I should not be telling you that. You must know that a block is at rest. What is the value of magnitude of and direction of static friction in this case? And what is your answer? What is the value of static friction in this case? So how do I do this? This is mg. This is normal reaction. This is mg root 3 by 2. This is mg by 2. The block does not move in this direction, so I can say this will be equal to this. Doesn't matter. We have written it. Now we see, where does the block want to move? Where does the block want to move? On to the downward direction, we have a force of mg by 2. In the upward direction, we also have a force of mg by 2. Both are balancing out each other. What is the value of static friction? It does not move. It should not move. And as I said, static friction is intelligent. So static friction now has become 0. The value of static friction is 0 because upward force and downward force, they are both same. It does not want to move. It has no tendency to move. Static friction says, okay, you don't want to move. I am also 0. Stay happy. Static friction is intelligent. It keeps on changing its value. Are you getting my point? Keeps on changing the value. When it was mg by 4, static friction knew that the block wants to go downwards, so it applied itself in the upward direction. How it knows, that is not our point. That will be a class in physics and philosophy that we'll try to understand how it knows. That is not the concern right now. What I'm going to do next? Same question. The first force I applied was mg by 4. The next one was mg by 2. Now I apply a force equal to mg. And now I ask the same question. What is, and again, I am telling you, which I should not be telling you, is that this block is at rest. What is the value of friction? And again, it should not take rocket science for you to understand this. Instead of rocket science, I should call quantum physics. Quantum physics is more difficult than rocket science. This is mg, we all know this. This is normal reaction, we all know this. This is mg cos theta, so that is root 3 by 2 mg. We all know this. This is mg sin theta, mg by 2. We all know this. We also know that this n will be equal to root 3 by 2 mg. It is inconsequential right now, but I have written it. Now again, see, does the block want to move? Yes, it wants to move. Where does it want to move now? Upwards or downwards?
Downward.
It wants to move downwards. Wrong answer. It wants to move upwards. Its impending motion is upwards because upward force is mg. Downward force is mg by 2. So it wants to move upwards, but it is not moving. Something is stopping it. What is stopping it? Our new friend, static friction, is stopping it. Upwards is mg. Downwards is mg by 2. It should move upwards, but it is not moving because friction is helping the smaller force. You are a small force. You are weak. I will help you out. Friction is helping him out. What is the equation that I get? Mg by 2 plus Fs shall be equal to mg. From here, you should be able to calculate the value of Fs. Do we understand this? Yes or no? Can I have some raise hand that we understand this? How many of you were able to find out the value of Fs in the online class, in the offline class? Please raise your hands and let me know how many of you were able to solve this question, that the value of static friction is mg by 2. Okay. Now, as I told you, I had given you some additional information. I had given you some additional information. Now, I'll take out that additional information and I'll give you something else in place of that additional information. Okay, let us see if you can solve the question now. And we'll not be doing 3 variations of it. We'll probably do 1 or 2 variations of it. Question number 7. Question number 7 is like this. This is 30 degrees. I'm not changed this so that everything remains simple. This is M. And the first question was, I've applied a force of mg by 4. I don't know whether the block is moving or not. But I've given you, obviously this surface is rough. I have given you another thing. Instead of telling you whether the block is moving or not, I have given you the value of mu s. And mu s is 1 by root 3. Mu s is 1 by root 3. Question has changed. Some information has been changed. Now you have to tell me what is the value of friction. The first question is whether the block is moving or not. If you just go to the first variation of this question, where it was question number 4, as you can see here, question number 4, I had given you the same question, but I told you in advance that the block is at rest. Question number 4 on your screens now. I told you that block was at rest. What I have changed in this question, question number 7, instead of telling you that a block is at rest, I've given you something else. Mu s is 1 by root 3. That is how you make a question complicated. Now, if you don't understand the concept, you are gone. Time for you to test your skills. First of all, you have to tell me whether the block remains at rest or it moves. If it remains at rest, how it remains at rest, why it remains at rest. If it moves, why it moves. Whatever the case is, you have to tell me the value of friction. Remember, in some questions, if the block moves, you will be also given the value of mu k. So I am going to give you the value of mu k as well. Mu k should be less than mu s. Remember, it should be less than mu s. So I have given you the value of mu k as well. Mu k is 1 by root 2. So now the question looks pretty complicated. Two minutes. Think about it. Hmm. So how do I find out whether the block moves or not? Now remember, one thing is very sure, is always sure, that if the block is moving, the value of friction is always known. If the block is moving, let me use a different color. If the block is moving, the friction has to be kinetic, and kinetic friction is always equal to mu k into n. Mu k will be given to you. You can easily find out the value of n, and you will have your answers. No doubt on that. But the problem will come when the block is not moving. Then the direction of friction and the magnitude of friction is something that you must understand and then find out. How I'm going to do this? I'm going to see, I don't have a magic wand. I always do the same thing in the same way. Doing it in the same way makes me good at it. And then I can find out a small way of doing it, a shortcut way of doing it. But remember, shortcuts are very difficult and dangerous. Sometimes there might be a roadblock in that shortcut. There might be a big hole, and you might fall in that hole. So remember, whenever you are using shortcuts may be dangerous. This is mg, this is normal reaction, this is mg cos 32, cos 32 ni cos 30, root 3 by 2 mg. This is mg by 2. This is mg by 2. So I know mg by 2 is trying to pull it downwards, mg by 4 is trying to pull it upwards. So now I understand that the only way this block should move is that it moves downwards. Impending motion is downwards. If the impending motion is downwards, then friction has to be upwards. Whether it is static friction or kinetic friction, doesn't matter. Friction has to be upwards, F. Now I have to find out whether this is static or kinetic. How do I do it? Now the motion can only start, remember, I told you in the last class, starting the motion is difficult. When the motion starts, then it is simpler. You can see it in your lab as well. If you go to the lab today or tomorrow, whenever, you will have this incline, you will have this incline thing. You will have this experiment of incline plane, I guess. Now see, I just try to give you an example here. Remember this angle of repose. This is the angle at which the block starts to slide. Now, once this block starts to slide, that means static friction is no longer present. It is beginning to slide. The friction becomes kinetic. Right now, in this question number 3, the angle of repose was 45 degrees. So at 45 degrees, this block begins to slide. Once it begins to slide, you can actually decrease the angle slightly. And you can see that practically in your lab. You can decrease the angle slightly. The block will keep on sliding. It will not stop. Why will the block keep on sliding? I have decreased the angle. It should stop now. The block will keep on sliding because as soon as the motion starts, static friction disappears and kinetic friction comes. And the value of mu k is always less than the value of mu s. We also did a question in the last class where 25 newtons was used to start the motion, but with 25 newtons, after the motion has started, we were able to accelerate the body. It's difficult to start the motion, but once the motion starts, it is easier to continue the motion. I hope you understand this. Can I have some reason that we have understood this? That once the motion starts, I can decrease the angle slightly, the block will keep on sliding. You will not be able to stop it. The block, unless until you make it become flat, then obviously it will stop because there is no force to take it there. But even if you do it slightly, it will just keep on sliding, will not stop, because static friction has been replaced by kinetic friction, and kinetic friction is always less than sliding friction, and that is why I had given you both the values mu s and mu k. Now in this question, this block is supposed to go down, but it is not going down. I don't know whether it's going down or not. Now to start the motion, friction has to reach its maximum limit. To start the motion, friction has to reach its maximum limit, then only it will decrease. Now how do I find the maximum limit of friction? Green equation tells me the value of normal reaction. Normal reaction is root 3 by 2 mg. Root 3 by 2 mg is your normal reaction. Now, once I know the value of normal reaction, I can find out both kinetic friction as well as our new friend FL. Remember, it is FL and not FS. The value of FL is fixed. It is mu s multiplied by n. Mu s is given as 1 by root 3. 1 by root 3 multiplied by n. 1 by root 3 multiplied by root 3 by 2 mg. I get the value of limiting friction as mg by 2. Now, once I know the value of limiting friction, I know that this friction, which is static, which may be static, can go up to this value. It can increase its value till mg by 2. So unless it becomes mg by 2, motion will not start. Unless it becomes mg by 2, motion will not start. Now here, if I take the value as mg by 2, which is the value of limiting friction, you will see, what will you see? Common sense. This mg by 2 and mg by 4 is greater than mg by 2. It is not possible. If mg by 2 force is downwards and mg by 4 is upwards, the block cannot move upwards by friction. So friction cannot be mg by 2. If friction is not mg by 2, it has to be less than mg by 2. If it is less than mg by 2, it is less than limiting friction. And if it is less than limiting friction, the block is not moving. The block is at rest. So this block remains at rest. This block remains at rest because the maximum value of limiting friction is mg by 2. And the value of friction here cannot be mg by 2, because if it becomes mg by 2, the block will move forward. The block will move upwards. I'm applying a force of mg by 4 upwards. Mg by 2 is downwards. The block cannot move upwards by friction, because then if that happens, that will be a magical act. And magics don't happen in real life. Only physics happens in real life. So the block does not move, and hence the friction is static in nature, Fs. Now I can formulate the equation. I can take this off. This is the wrong value. What is the correct value? I will now write the yellow equation. How does the yellow equation look like? Mg by 2 is downwards. Mg by 2 shall be equal to Mg by 4, which is upwards, plus Fs. From here, I can calculate the value of Fs. And as you can see, this value of Fs will be same as what we calculated in question number 4. In question number 4, I directly gave you that the block is at rest. In this question, you had to use your brain and find out whether the block is at rest or not. Did we get this question? Yes or no? Can I have some raise hand? Have you understood this question? What you will do is, once you get back home, analyze all the cases starting from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I will keep on this topic in the next class, and probably in the next class we will be able to wind static friction. We might take one more class if you are not able to follow, but next class is probably what I'm thinking to wind this up. Go through this. I'll do 1 or 2 good problems again, and then we'll wind up this class. Today's class is dismissed. If you have anything that you want to add, you want to ask, you are free. Else, the class is over from my end. Have a good day.